Hello, Reporter Room investigators. Hello, family. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. My job is to investigate crimes, potential suspects, and crime scenes and share with you how to do the same thing. If you haven't joined the Reporter Room family by subscribing, please do. We have a really caring and kind community here on Reporter Room. So come on in, come on in. I have not covered this case before. I do want to welcome Duke Ross, became a channel member. Welcome, Duke. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Leslie. Good to see you. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the case of Mica Miller. And there have been a lot of protests. And I just thought it'd be nice for you guys to get to know a little bit about Micah. She was married to a pastor. Now, it was a pastor in South Carolina. He claims that Micah did away with herself, but her family's not having it. They're encouraging law enforcement to investigate all of this because she had just filed for a divorce and served him with paperwork just 48 hours before this happened. And we all know the most dangerous time for a woman is when she is trying to leave. Yes, please give this a thumbs up. Come on in, you guys. Share this on your socials. I have not covered this case before. This is a new one for me. So I do hear from Micah herself.
I just wanted to say that I am so happy to be born into this country where we have job opportunities that are better than what I've witnessed in other countries. I remember driving past a man sitting on a giant rock, and he had like a chisel and a hammer. And I asked the people that we were with, what is that man doing? And they said that is his job. He finds a big boulder in the wild, and he beats it into littler rocks, and then beats those rocks into littler rocks. And then he bags up all the rocks and he puts them in a wheelbarrow and he takes them into town and he tries to sell them for landscape, for construction, whatever. So if you have a job that is better than that, be so thankful today.
Oh my gosh, she seems so sweet and so kind. So let me go ahead and share this with you. Just give you guys a little bit of an overview and also some more pictures of Micah. So come on in, guys. Come on in. So he's the South Carolina pastor. His name is John Paul Miller, but he goes by the name of the initials JP. He's a pastor at the Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we are asking for justice for Micah. He broke the news to his congregation during a recent service and then asked his congregation not to discuss it inside the church. It was just kind of weird. Everything about this feels off. He said, quote, "I got a call late last night. My wife passed away. It was unalived. I'm watching my words. And it was up in North Carolina. And he said, y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. You all knew she wasn't well mentally. I guess if you want to leave your husband, that's how he's going to characterize you. And she needed medicine and it was hard for her to get. I'm sure more details are to come, but keep her family in your prayers." Wow, he just like threw her under the bus. But the friends of, this is his second wife, were taken back over what happened to Micah, and they're urging law enforcement to look into it, saying, quote, "This has to be looked into deeply. There's got to be some accountability here." This is Ken Young told WPDE, because, yeah, a tragic life was lost, but it's not just as simple as mental health issues. So the Robeson Sheriff's County office opened an investigation on April 27th. And this is the major from the law enforcement. He said officers are now in the process of gathering information from people in South and North Carolina as a part of their investigation into how Micah passed. I'm watching my words. So there's Micah in happier times with J.P. Miller, her husband. McLean also revealed that there was no evidence of the community being in danger. But John Paul claims that she struggled with unaliving before. Each time we would help her through it and take her to the doctor, and we got through it. Everything was fine. She even gave her last few testimonies here at the church, and we have it on video. It just seems like a lot of alibi building to me. He claims that he and his wife spent every night and day together for hours just talking and talking. But Micah had filed for divorce from him in October of 2023, and he had just been served with paperwork in the 24 hours prior to this. So I don't know, you guys. I think something doesn't feel right. But this is Micah. This is her singing in church. So I want to just take you guys to, this is Fitz News. Those of you are probably familiar with them. Oh, come on in, you guys. I've never done this case before, so this is a new case, and I just wanted to do it because it just touched my heart. It just feels like I just want to, she just looks like such a beautiful young woman. She deserves better. So, hey, Enjaz. Hi, Leslie. Whoa, I didn't know she had filed her. Yeah, 48 hours he gets served with paperwork, and then this happens. And she was asking for spousal support and maintenance. Hey, Jewel. And Jazz is our head mod, along with Sixth Sense Amelia and Jane. I did not schedule this. I just kind of went live because I wanted to go through this. Yeah, I didn't know I was doing this either. I was digging into it earlier today, and then I just thought, you know what I do? Yeah, a pastor. Yeah. Elmer says, yeah, hit the like button on your way in. Yeah, help me out with the algorithm. Give it a thumbs up. I think we're going to have a quiet live stream, but I'm hoping that we can really dig into this because there was a lot of protests about this today. I'm going to talk about her parents are speaking out. We're going to dive into a lot of this today. So this whole thing doesn't pass the smell test. She was only 30 years old. No manner or cause of what happened to her was referenced, but we have heard people say that it was involving a gun, which again doesn't sound like a woman. That just doesn't sound like a way that. So nothing about it. JP refers to her as energetic, affirming, adventurous, faithful, loving, forgiving, talented, joyous, creative, assertive, bold, determined, authoritative. That's a weird word. Passionate, hardworking, and a risk taker. So he also talked about his relationship with JP and portrayed her as his most ardent admirer and someone who helped him with the church in every way. This just sounds, I'm sorry, this is so narcissistic. This just reminds me of he says she truly served Jesus and her husband with all of her heart. She would praise her husband after every church service, telling him he was the best preacher in the world, even if it wasn't true. She also told him he was the funniest preacher in the world, even though it wasn't true. It just seems like the obituary is a lot more about JP than it is about her. But what did he not mention? That she had sued him for divorce just 2 weeks ago, and he was reportedly served with paperwork just 48 hours before this occurred. It just doesn't pass the smell test, you guys. There were protests today. We're going to talk about all of that. So he makes it public during the conclusion of his sermon last Sunday, giving his parishioners strict instructions not to discuss it amongst themselves. And he said, we're not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm just going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to have you leave the church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building. Makes you wonder what he was afraid they were going to say. He implored his congregants to continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit, because, quote, I'm taking a little bit of a break. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know, he continued. I've got a call late last night. Yeah, it was self-induced, and it was in North Carolina, and we're going to have a funeral for her Sunday here at 3 p.m. Her family is not buying this. Just not buying this.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm going to have you stand up, and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to
And my source on this is Fitz News. So this is her soon-to-be ex-husband, was soon-to-be ex-husband, but he had a new girlfriend too.
ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can. So y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit. 'Cause I don't want to have. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know. I got a call late last night.
I think it's interesting that he's asking for money at this time too. It's just weird.
My wife has passed away, and yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina, and we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine. That was.
I'm always suspicious of spouses who are making negative comments and alibi building while they're explaining this. He didn't have to say any of this. He could have just said she passed away and left it there.
Hard to get to her, and so I'm sure there'll be more details to come. But just keep our family in your prayers, and I'm going to let Pastor Randall, my bishop, he can pray. I'll get him.
So that was his announcement, which is just kind of weird. And that's courtesy of Fitz News, which is my sourcing on this. So as noted, this thing just does not pass the smell test. It just reminds me a lot of the Alex Murdaugh case. As noted in the John Paul Miller sermon and obituary and a celebration of life service for Micah was scheduled for today. And of course, Fitz News, everybody's trying to get freedom of information, and they want to get more information on what really happened. Several videos have been posted to social media in which Miller discussed the situation she was dealing with in her personal life. And she said, I just want to let you know I'm alive and well. She said in one video posted on Facebook in mid-March, life's been kind of crazy. The couple of weeks, months, years, I kind of had to keep my circle small for the past couple of weeks because I've been going through a lot. It's hard. So let's listen to Micah.
So today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse. And I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse.
So this had to have been upsetting for her husband, JP, to see her making these videos and talking about her situation with him like this. Because his telling for her, his announcement, and talked about how great she thought he was. It doesn't sound like she really thought that. Let's continue on, shall we?
And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship.
whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs or alcohol abuse or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
So, I mean, this was such a powerful statement. So you can just see why her family is very, very suspicious of the pastor, with good reason. So she encouraged her followers to share the video with anyone who is struggling with a dangerous situation because they think God will be mad at them. So I think this is a, really powerful testimony. So I do want to talk about this a little bit more. Let me take this down. Her parents, this is her Facebook page. You can see all her photos. When terrible, terrible things happen to you, y'all know what I'm talking about. Rest in peace, face. So she was not just going away quietly. She was talking about what had happened to her. And I can't do the singing one. I would love to, but I can't do the music. This is the one where she talks about, share this with anyone struggling and leaving a dangerous situation because they think God will be mad at them.
Thing either good for yourself or someone else, because like the second greatest.
Let me back it up a little bit.
So I just thought of something as I'm listening to a song called Trouble by Kane, and I just wanted to give you a dare today. I dare you to do something either good for yourself or someone else, because like the second greatest command, love your neighbor as yourself. And it makes the enemy so mad, because like when Job in his misery like took time to pray for his friend, or the woman gave up her last flour and oil to the prophet, or when you're going through something horrific and sad and awful, but you take the time to call and encourage your friend, or pause in your prayers, lifting up your concerns and worries and cares, and you pause to pray for your friend whose family member has cancer, or to lift up their daughter or son who's just going through a season and they need prayer, nothing makes the enemy more mad, because that's God's heart. Opposite of selfishness. It's just loving God's people the way you know God loves you, and pouring it out onto someone else. And let's do something good for somebody else and make the enemy so mad today.
Oh my gosh. And I just wanted to share that with you because I think she was such a good advocate for anybody who's found themselves in a situation like what she was going through. And you can see what a powerful speaker she is. You can see what a powerful person she is. And I just want to share this one too. This is her family here, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. Let me say hello to chat because this is social media. I just want to welcome Duke Ross as a new channel member. So glad to have you as part of Reporter Room. And thank you so much. Elmer is asking everybody to hit the like button on the way in. Yeah, help me out with the YouTube algorithm. This is Enjaz. She's our head mod with 6 Cents Amelia. This is Amelia, our other head mod. She says, hello, chat. I have not heard of this case. Listening along from the Lurkers Lounge. So good to see you. Hi, Ryan. Tell me where you guys are from. Come on in. We have this. There was protests on her behalf. They are the public is demanding justice for her. And you can just hear what a powerful voice she had and the things that she was saying and how open she was being about what had happened to her. So you can see that there was, in my opinion, a motive here. Hey, Cirrus, good to see you. Cat's Life is here. Hey, Jody. Leslie says, I'm not buying it either, Jessica. Hi, Vicky. Come on in, you guys. Lolo says it really makes him. Yeah, he's just talking about how great he is and all the good things she said about him, right? He just seems sus. Yeah. The whole thing just came across. And then the grift. Yeah, this is a brand new case. I have not covered it before, but what happened to her is just doesn't pass the smell test. And her family is just like begging for help. And there were protests today about her because she had such a big following. She was beloved. She was loved. And she had such a powerful voice. And the fact that she was speaking out about what happened to her at his hands, that's a motive. The grifting looked terrible. Him asking for donations. It almost makes you wonder if he knew donations were going to dry up after that day, once the public learns the truth. Yeah, thank you, Enjaz. Please give this a thumbs up on your way in. Keep it classy. Watch your words in the chat. Leslie says another channel. I saw him pull up in a park and asked him why he off. Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Jody says, do we know what happened? Like how? Yeah, I'm going to go into that. Hi, Tara. We're going to dig into all of it, guys. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packages ready to go, plus what I've already shared with you. So we have a lot. She's talking about J.P. Miller. That's who she's talking about. Jewel says, what is hidden in the dark shall be revealed in the light. Absolutely. All right, well, let me see if I've missed anybody. I think I've said hello. Hey, Maria. We're going to dig into all that. Let's dig into it. Okay, so you guys thank you, Cat's Life. I'm glad you're here. So come on in. I just started a few minutes ago, Mike. This is a unplanned live stream, but I was going to wait on this for a day, and I just felt like let's do one today because I can always do another one. But I do want to talk about her loved ones. I do think her testimony is so strong of how she feels. And I just wanted to give you kind of a feeling for her and what she was like. Because she's just, I'll play one more just so you.
That came to my head the other day. I was just kind of battling thoughts of just kind of like human thoughts, things that you want to do. And it's just a fleeting thought, and then this song came to my mind because it says, bless those who curse you, pray for your enemies, things like that. And so I just wanted to sing this really quick and see if it encourages you. I hope it does.
I can't play the song, but I do want to, just wanted to give you a sense of what she was like because she's lovely, absolutely lovely. So this is Abel T. Salas. Can you guys see this? Okay, make sure I'm sharing what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. So he says, friends and family, please pray for my wife and I. My wife, Angelita Salas, lost. So this is her dad and her mom. Lost a beautiful daughter, Mica Miller, yesterday. Please pray for the family as we pull together to try to make some sense out of all the pieces that are coming to us from all over the world. We truly miss our daughter, Micah Acacia Francis Miller. And you can see all the nice comments that have been left under there. I'm going to just pop over to Mom's Facebook. This is her mom. And I don't think she has anything up. Nope, she doesn't. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. Let me grab this one for you. So today was, we're going to talk about narcissism. and DARVO in just a second, but I just want to share this. Okay, so this is her family put her middle name on here. This is her obituary. Mica Miller. She was 30 years old from Myrtle Beach, passed away on Saturday, April 27th. She was born March 7th, 1994 in Wichita, Kansas. She was the daughter of Michael Francis. That's the Facebook I just showed you. And Angelita, I just showed you hers as well. She is survived by her husband, Pastor John Paul Miller of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Stepchildren are Logan, Zachary, Eli, Asher, and Selah. One brother, Nate Francis, and his wife, Victoria. And then she had 4 sisters, Anna Francis, Sierra Brown, and husband, Matt Alibi Francis, and Destiny Baratos, and husband, Nicholas. She's described as being energetic, affirming, adventurous, faithful, loving, forgiving, talented, joyous, creative, assertive, bold, determined, authoritative. I thought that was interesting. I think JP is the one that wrote this. Hardworking, and so much more. She and JP have been friends since 2009 and married since 2017 and spent almost every single day and night together. Well, that's not true. That's not true because she left. And she had served him with divorce papers 48 hours before this happened. Micah loved her little dog, Loki. She loved doing outdoor activities like water rappelling, hiking, skydiving, running, and was going to the beach. She would have taken on any challenge, even if it was being vegan for an entire year. She was a great stepmother, an amazing wife, and helpmate. She helped Pastor JP with the church in every way. Micah was the worship leader, graphics designer, youth leader, women's ministry leader, and pastor's assistant. She did all of this with the utmost integrity and faithfulness. Micah made the greatest effort to always be the best wife she could be, except she was leaving him. He left that part out. She truly served Jesus and her husband with all of her heart. I believe she did probably when she was married to him, but she was speaking out about what she was going through. So to me, that's a motive. She would praise her husband. This is why I think he wrote it. She would praise her husband after every church service, telling him he was the best preacher in the world, even if it wasn't true. She told him he was the funniest preacher in the world, even if it wasn't true. I almost just feel like this was written by JP for JP. Micah loved her family so much. She looked forward to every text message from her father or brother. She sought every opportunity to pour into her sisters. There were thousands of nights she would pray out loud for God to always bless and take care of her family. They were constantly on her mind. Micah wanted more than anything for each member of her family to serve Jesus continuously. She loved her ice bath, nice car, sauna, house, but more than anything on earth, her desire was to see people come to Jesus. I just think it's so interesting that how much she just thought about JP, even though she's leaving him. Welcome, True Cat's Life as a new Reporter Room channel member. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It's free, and join our family. We have such a nice family here on Reporter Room. All right, so I want to talk about DARVO, because she talked about this. I didn't just she openly talked about that this was something that happens to her. So I want to talk about narcissists, and I do think the fact that he wrote in her obituary, I'm not using this as a diagnosis. I'm not a therapist, but I'm using it as an adjective. Just the fact that he's not acknowledging that she had left him 2 months ago, not acknowledging that she was talking about what happened to her in her marriage with him, using the A word, the DV. So how do narcissists use DARVO to avoid accountability? And this may be something that applies to you. So research shows that between 0.5 and 5% of the population have narcissistic personality disorder. So this with a greater prevalence in men than women, but this can happen to women, but it can also happen to men. So this could be somebody that was a parent. This could be somebody that was a spouse. This could be somebody that's a coworker. This could be somebody that is a friend. So what does DARVO stand for? It's an acronym that stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. So it's a manipulative tactic used by, I'll just say narcissist, I'm watching my words, to avoid taking responsibility for their actions and to shift the blame onto the victims. This is according to psychologist Abigail Lev. She's the founder of the Bay Area CBT Center and CBT Online. So what does it look like? Well, the denial. Somebody adamantly denies being wrong, won't acknowledge wrong behavior, and this person using this tactic will not only say they're not being A or DV, but they'll minimize your feelings if they tell you it's not that big of a deal or you're making too much of this. That's just another way to deny the wrongful behavior and how it's impacting you. The accused person becomes aggressive, arguing that they are not in the wrong. They also seek to cast doubt on you as the person who is questioning their behavior. Instead of refusing to accept responsibility for their behavior, this person is actively working to make it look like you are the one who is in the wrong. They attack your credibility. They attack your character or motives. They use insults, they gaslight, they manipulate, anything to discredit the victim's account of what happened, the DV or the A. And when you're in chat, please think about what words you're using. Let's keep it G-rated. So reverse victim and offender. So they will literally try to switch roles. The narcissist will argue that they are the real victim, and they will make the victim look like they are the perpetrator or the offender. The narcissist may claim to be unfairly accused and then say you're making accusations to cover up your own behavior. This attempt to shift blame helps the narcissist to be seen in a more positive light. I'm watching my words here, while inflicting mental and emotional pain on the person who's already going through the DV. They will gaslight you, making the person wonder if they are crazy or think what they are experiencing is not actually A. So people who use the DARVO methods on their victims often achieve the results that they want to. And just the fact that he's saying she was mentally unwell, she had all these mental health issues. In all of her Facebook posts, she looks fine. She's calling out what happened to her. She's saying what he did to her, but she looks fine. Studies show when people saw one person using DARVO tactics on another, the victim was viewed as less believable. And how many of you guys have been in a relationship with somebody who's narcissistic and manipulative, and that they're believable? You're viewed as the one, even though you're being gaslit, you're being the one who's being seen as less believable, while the perpetrator is being seen as less responsible. So you can imagine dealing with this kind of manipulation day in and day out is massively exhausting, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. So this is according to Dr. Love. She said that DARVO will negatively impact the victim's mental health because they internalize the false narrative that they are the perpetrator, and the problems in the relationship are their fault. They convince themselves, and this is a way to also feel like they're in control, right? And we see this a lot. If the person can take it upon themselves that this is happening because it's their fault, then they can put a stop to it, right? Put a stop to someone that they cannot control. But it's not true. And they convince themselves that they are the cause of their own mistreatment, leading to feelings of self-blame and self-doubt. This is according to Dr. Love. So it negatively impacts a victim's mental health because they internalize the false narrative that they are the perpetrator and that the problems in the relationship are their fault. So this is really serious, and it's just something that in light of everything that we talked about in the Sebastian Rogers case, I just wanted to talk about this with you guys, because here is this beautiful young woman, and she's going through all of this. So being subjected to repeated manipulation through DARVO can lead to anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, self-doubt, a sense of powerlessness, and narcissistic A syndrome, as well as pseudo identity personality. This is where the victim develops a pseudo personality that echoes and repeats the narcissist's false self, their grandiose narrative of themselves. And we saw this, in my opinion, in the way that he describes how she viewed him as the best pastor in the world, the smartest pastor in the world. It almost felt like the obituary was written by him for himself. Talk about how great he was. Grandiose narrative. This is what made me think of narcissism. So narcissistic survivors can also experience PTSD. This is when victims are left feeling isolated, unable to cope, especially when the reverse of the victim and the offender continues this DV cycle. So how do you protect yourself? So you have to educate yourself, know what signs to look for. So once you understand the pattern that DARVO DVs use, you can see it coming. You'll be able to recognize their tactics and be able to control and manage your emotions better when it happens. Once recognized, this pattern becomes more predictable and quickly loses some of its power and influence. So when you notice someone's love bombing you, instead of being taken in by it, you can just educate yourself and like, oh, we're in the love bombing stage because I've taken a giant step back to set boundaries for myself. So now this person's going to come in and love bomb me and tell me everything I want to hear, and that everything's going to be different. And we're going to have we're in this phase of it. So it makes it harder for them to influence you and have power over you when you can know what this is. When they do the narcissistic discard, which is when a narcissist just drops you. They just drop you in the most cruelest, awfulest fashion possible. You can just know, oh, don't take it personally. This doesn't have anything to do with you. It doesn't have anything to do with anything except for the fact that the narcissist is you'll know in your own head that they're doing a narcissistic discard. So it just helps you to understand, if you can understand the phases of the love bombing, the gaslighting, and everything, then you're not taking it personally when they act the way that they act. You're just looking at it going, yep, we're in this cycle. Just being able to identify it will give you a lot of power. The other thing is to stand up for yourself, clearly name what is happening, what you will allow and what you will not allow. Boundaries have sharp edges, and people that are the victims of narcissists, will have more trouble setting boundaries if they've endured this, for a long period of time. But it's really important to just stand up for yourself. I'm just joking you. You can't take a joke. I'm just teasing you. You're so sensitive. You could just say, I don't like it. That's it. That's all you have to say. I don't like it. I don't want I don't want to be teased this way, or it doesn't feel like teasing to me. So cut it out. So just standing your ground, right? Learning what healthy communication looks like in a relationship. And I just want to say that their response to your setting the boundaries is not going to be, they're not going to love it, but what can they really do? With your setting the boundaries, just set the boundaries with them. Learn what healthy communication looks like in a relationship, along with saying you won't put up with this, and make sure they know this is what you expect. But find a support group. This is friends, family can give you an encouragement. Having a strong support network can help you validate your experiences and counteract the effects of DARVO. This is per Dr. Love. The other thing is document. One of the reasons people thought O.J. Simpson did what he did was because Nicole documented what was going on. She documented it and had it in a safety deposit box. Keep a record of the incidents, including dates, times, and descriptions. This can include recordings or videos if your state allows this. And then finally, get professional help. Mental health professionals who are familiar with understanding narcissistic A can be pivotal in your healing journey. There are a number of therapeutic resources for individuals dealing with this, including cognitive behavior therapy, dialectic behavior therapy, trauma-focused therapy. So you can work with a licensed professional. I think a licensed professional is better than a life coach, because anybody can say they're a life coach, whereas a licensed professional. And then, of course, if you believe you're in immediate danger, let someone know. So I just want to check in with chat. So this is Micah. I do believe that he has something to do with it, and it seems like her family does also. Let me pull this up.
And life's been kind of crazy the couple past weeks, months, years. But I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple weeks, just because I'm going through a lot, and it's hard, and it's my cross to bear. It's the thing that God has put in my life to deal with, and I don't want to bring a lot of people into it. I'm so thankful to God for a strong family and the friends that God has put in my life to be there for me at this time.
Like, you can imagine when somebody is a pastor at a big church, that your support system, a lot of your friends and support system would be involved in that church and be involved with the person who's doing this to you. And you could just imagine the gaslighting that was going on in all of this. But boy, she stood her ground. She was speaking out about what was happening in repeated Facebook posts leading up to this. And she had just served, he has a brand new girlfriend, which is, but she had just served, so did OJ Simpson, by the way. She had just served him with paperwork, getting the divorce, and asking for spousal support and spousal maintenance. I bet that went over like a lead balloon with him.
I just wanted to share that my heart and my prayer is that the church would stay strong, that y'all would stick together, because the church is God's people. It's not a man, it's not a person, it's not me, it's God's people, the bride of Christ. And it's a lot of really good people in the church.
And I really love the fact that she was, still supporting the people in the church, despite everything that she was going through. She's still talking in a kind way about all of them.
That I just hope would continue on, press toward the calling, run your race, stay encouraged, stay in your word, keep worshiping. Like I can't wait to worship again with everybody. But for now, I'm just worshiping with me and Jesus to God. And I don't think God would be pleased with me if I just jumped right into missions and women's events and creative directing and worship leading and stuff. I think when your world is shook up, you need to take a pause. And I can only pray that more people will take a pause and I'm trying to get my priorities straight right now. And that's making sure that my heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, just forgiveness and hope for the future and peace. Because you can't put a price on peace from God. So thank you for all your prayers and support. Know that I have to keep my circle really, really small right now. I'm used to having a really big circle, so it's hard because I want to reach out to everybody and tell you how much I love you and I miss you.
So his congregants would have seen her Facebook posts. So it's not shocking to me that he's under investigation. So let's dig into that. Let me check in with chat, and then we're going to dig into the next package. Let me see where you guys are at. Let me see. I bet a lot of you guys can relate to her and what she's going through. She just seems like a lovely person. Let's see. Hey, 1300, I've been married to a narcissist and now we are divorced. I'm away from him and my life is peaceful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're away and that you're safe. Maria says, he should not have ever become a preacher. A very bad example for the church, in my opinion. Yeah. The Jewel says, when a narcissistic person throws shade at you, it's to hide what they are doing. Yeah. It's a way to gaslight you. Just like an example of gaslighting, for those of you that don't know what gaslighting is, it can be an example like the narcissistic person says to you that they have Alzheimer's. I have Alzheimer's. I can't remember what I did to you. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. So you believe them. You believe them because who would lie about Alzheimer's? And so you check in with another family member and be like, you know what? I'm really worried that so-and-so has Alzheimer's. Can you keep an eye on them? And then the narcissist comes back and tells the other family member that you're going around and making up stuff about them. That's gaslighting. So yeah. So just in case you didn't know what gaslighting was, that's just one example. It can be anything like that. And so you look like you're the liar. Like you're going around just making stuff up. So it's interesting. A narcissist will never admit their fault and they will twist things to their advantage. Hey, Regina. And just as I used to live. Oh, okay. Sorry. Hi, Cirrus. Ruby says borderline personality disorder. Jody Arias. Yeah, that's like a different personality thing. But yeah, Jody Arias probably does fit that. You're right. I'm not a psychologist. I can't diagnose her, but that's just my opinion. Hey, Tara. Tara says they use love bombing as well. I was married to a narcissist for 21 years. Wow. And he did serious damage to me. I have PTSD because of him. I'm so sorry. Oh. The Jewel says my ex-husband was a full-blown military narcissist. I'm so sorry. Regina has. Scarlett says, I wish I had this knowledge 40 years ago. Yeah, 40 years ago, we didn't have the internet. We couldn't just all talk about it like this. That's why I wanted to just come on and talk to you guys about it. I know there's people out there right now going through it. I know there are people out there now going through situations where you don't know how to set boundaries with people. And I think she was setting good boundaries with him. She was filing for divorce. She was moving forward. And boundaries, narcissistic people don't always like your boundaries. Hey, Scarlett. Debbie Jo says, my ex-husband was close to a preach and had 2 boys, but spent time with husband, got weird. Soon they spooned 1975. I told the preacher's wife, divorced my husband, preach. I'm not sure. There's so many. There's so many. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand it. Yeah, it is true for so many of us. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up button on your way in and consider subscribing and joining the Reporter Room family. Yeah, the pastor. I'm glad you survived, Jewel. A lot of people have survived stuff like this. And Ann Ruby says codependency leads to despondency. Leslie became a hermit. So we have a lot of people who can relate to this in the chat. Tara says, if it wasn't for my children, I would have left him. He was good to them and they loved him dearly. It was just me he needed to control, but now he's gone. Scarlett says, I don't go out, nor do I trust. All right, well, let's talk about, I'm sorry. I am sorry to hear that. So let's talk about the investigation into John Paul J.P. Miller. So he told ABC 15 that she struggled with unaliving. And each time we would help her through it and take her to the doctor. I just think it's very interesting that he's so interested in painting this picture of her. Instead of saying, I don't know what happened. She gave a few testimonies here at church that we have on video. Again, I just feel like more alibi building from JP. But I think it's very suspicious. So here's her sister coming out, and we're all use justice for Micah as your hashtag on this. Her sister came out pleading with friends on social media not to listen to false stories being shared about Micah. Good job to the sister. She said Micah was God-fearing, joyful, loving woman who did not deserve the A she endured. If you hear anything about this from anyone other than her family, please question it. Reach out to her siblings or parents. So her family just do not believe this is what happened. And going through her Facebook post, which is what I did today, I don't think that's what happened either. So her friend said, quote, I talked to her multiple times in the final week here on Earth. She wrote this on her Facebook. She was making plans to get her hair cut, to get help with her car payment because she was a little short after paying her divorce lawyer. Yeah, remember, she's asking for spousal support. He got served with papers just 48 hours and planning to meet us for a second service at church on Sunday. My final text with her on Friday at 9:19 p.m. was a woman making plans to live. So what happened between Friday night and Saturday? Very, very strange. And the fact that he's so interested in just trying to paint this in a certain light, just doesn't pass the smell test to me. I don't know what you guys think. All right, so let me grab this one. But I did want to show you the videos of Micah. There it is. Okay. So her family is urging for an investigation. And he's asking for everybody to pray for me. Y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. Talking about how she wasn't mentally there. It just, to me, it does not pass the smell test. I went through all her videos. She seems absolutely joyful. Let me grab this so you guys can see it. I went through going through her photos. She looks like she has a lot of loving people around her. And her posts were out there. They were upbeat. They were kind. They were loving. And she talked about what happened to her. So here are just some of her pictures. So this was at the very last day in March. Again, this just doesn't seem like a person who was bottoming out. To me, this looks like somebody who was celebrating life. Celebrating life. Well, guys, I just wanted to dive into that a little bit. I do want to just thank our producers. Let me take this. I do this every time. Someday I will learn. Let me see. Oh my gosh. Let me take this down. All right. Try this one more time. If you haven't seen my Sebastian Rogers video, I did a video on him today too. I do want to thank our producers, George Brown and Jazz, for Amber, Energy Shots, Angry Mons, and Not So Saintly, and our channel members. These are all the ones up through yesterday. I update this every week. If you would like your name to appear in all my videos and live streams, just like this, consider hitting the join button and joining us. We have a Facebook group also. If you type in Sebastian Rogers and Reporter Room, it will take you to our Facebook group. We have a really nice community, and our channel members have their own side chat there. But I just did want to touch on Micah. I will continue to follow this case. Today, there were a lot of protesters out protesting and asking for justice for her, really demanding justice for her, because I do feel like this pastor is gaslighting in my opinion, this is everything I'm sharing is my opinion, but I do feel like he is gaslighting this whole situation. I just think he is full of nonsense. Thank you for all your super thanks and PayPal. This is the very top one is Green Eye Sparkle and then Vicky Smith. I think I ran those two together. I'll fix it for the next time. Thank you, Green Eyed Sparkle. I just want to make sure. And our channel membership. So yeah, I think that this has been really interesting. Let me check back in with chat. She does not seem like somebody who was like near the end and she was going to be, doing anything to herself. She seemed like she was in a very good spot mentally and emotionally, which is why I wanted to show you those videos of her. But let me see what you guys have to say. What say you? 1300 Toe says, I could seriously write a book with what my ex did to me. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm glad you're here. Retha says, thank you so much. I'm here now by the help through Sebastian. Oh, that's great. Glad you're here. And we will support you and be there for you. I'm glad you're still here. Retha says, I am learning that trauma bonding was my life for so many years. I cannot wait to see my therapist. This is why I follow true crime. A lot of people in the true crime community, thank you for sharing your testimony with us, Retha. A lot of people that are into true crime, not all, but a certain percentage of people are because they feel trauma bonded to the criminals and also to the victims. And what I mean by this is that you're able, not you, but people that have been through stuff like that are able to watch, things like this, true crime stories from the safety of your couch, from the safety of your living room, from the safety of your bedroom on TV, and go through, process what happened to you in a safe way. And this is why a lot of people who have been through trauma are also so interested in true crime. There's another faction that are the actual criminals and they identify with the criminals themselves, but that's really a much smaller percentage of the people who do true crimes. Yeah, they don't know, Regina, you're right. They don't know the definition of boundaries. And boundaries are really important and they're not going to like your boundaries, just FYI. If you're in a situation like that, the person is not going to like your boundaries. You set them anyway. If something doesn't feel right to you, if something doesn't feel comfortable to you, you just say, I'm not comfortable with this, or I don't know. You don't have to explain. You could just say, this makes me uncomfortable. That is enough. That is enough. If it makes you uncomfortable, that is enough for you to say, stop the behavior. I don't want to be teased. I don't want to have you put down and, whatever the behaviors are. Just simply say, this makes me uncomfortable, so stop it. And then stop talking, because silence is power. Anna says, and to think he's a pastor, such a betrayal, and she went through it a lot. I think she did too. And just says, we're always busy here in the true crime world. Yeah, we are. Hi, secret forest creatures. I reckon there was a third party involved in this. Yeah, I'm wondering too, if he had us help. Jewel says, I spent a lot of years nursing in mental health, not just to help others, but to learn about myself. After 15 years, I learned a lot. Well, thank you for what you do, Jewel. Thank you so much. 1300 says, I am a survivor. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. And Jess says, I did that too. Psychiatric nursing. Wow. Tara says, I understand what you have been through. It's hard to break away from these type of people, but thank the Lord you're safe and free now. The Jewel says, a lot of survivors in here and proud to be happy ladies. Yeah, and I bet we have some guys in here too, because this can happen to men too. Leslie says, I keep leaving, then going back, and I thought my kids needed their father. That's really common. Regina's giving you guys applause. Mike says, pastor trying to make Micah sound terrible. Exactly. He's exactly, I agree. That's exactly what he's doing. In my opinion, he's gaslighting the situation. Let me just grab this really quick. I'll share this with you. This is Psychology Today. Let's talk about gaslighting for a second. So yeah, and this can happen to men too, you guys. This isn't just women. This happens to men as well. So Gaslighting is an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true. That's why I gave the example of the Alzheimer's a few minutes ago. They may end up doubting their memory, their perception, and even their sanity. Over time, a gaslighter's manipulation can grow more complex and potent, making it increasingly difficult for the victim to see the truth. So let's talk about how it works. My source on this is Psychology Today. The term gaslighting came from the 1938 play Gaslight. And so this is how it starts. A relationship with a gaslighter, this would be a narcissistic person, may seem to start out quite well. They may praise you on your first date. They may confide in you. But if you confide in them, just be careful, because they may be just keeping track of what you're sharing with them to use it against you later. Such disclosure before any intimacy has been established can establish a trust, and it's part of the tactic known as love bombing. Love bombing. So more quickly a victim becomes enamored, the more quickly the next phase of manipulation can begin. So what are the tactics? Well, a gaslighter will lie about simple things, but the volume of misinformation soon grows, and the gaslighter then accuses you of lying if you dare to question their narrative. They typically deploy occasional positive reinforcement to confuse you, but at the same time, they may attempt to turn others against you, even your own family and friends, by telling them that you are lying or that you are delusional. Yeah. So how do you know you're being gaslit? And this can happen to men and women. A victim experiences self-doubt as the gaslighter insists what he or she remembers, thinks, feels is wrong. The manipulative individual, this will be the narcissist, will continue to introduce lies in more sensitive arenas, attempting to disrupt and distort foundational aspects of your being, wearing you down, establishing confusion, and forcing you to rely on the gaslighter's version of reality. So, how to recognize a gaslighter? Gaslighting can be more effective and successful than many people imagine. Almost anyone can be susceptible to gaslighting techniques, which have been deployed throughout history and continue to be used today by DV, dictators, narcissists, and cult leaders. The most effective gaslighters are often the hardest to detect. They may be recognized by their victims' actions and mental state. So what is the difference between gaslighting and just plain old-fashioned manipulation? Well, manipulation is part of it, right? It's part of it. But manipulation's a pretty common tactic. Almost anyone is capable of employing it, while gaslighting is more rare. Most everybody, when they're kids, they try to manipulate their parents at an early age. Marketers, advertisers try to manipulate consumers. But gaslighting involves a pattern of behaviors with the intent not just to influence someone, but actually trying to control them. So gaslighting can be part of narcissistic personality disorder. It's not a core trait of narcissistic personality disorder. And the narcissist may be self-promoting and feeling superior to others. A gaslighter aims to make the others question their own self-value, to question your own self-worth. So how does it change you? Well, it can be devastating. It can violate your trust. It upends your view that people are generally good, and can make you feel suspicious of everyone around you. And you heard her talking about keeping her circle close. She's still reaching out and wishing the congregation well in her Facebook page, but you can see her closing her circle in. Falling victim to a gaslighter also erodes a person's trust in themselves and makes them forget what they once valued about themselves. After all, it's easy to blame yourself for having too much trust, for being too vulnerable or being too dependent, than to blame the person who's trying to manipulate and gaslight and control you. Yeah. So I hope that, I hope that this helps somebody. Let me check in with chat. Purple hearts, justice for Micah. Yeah, we all want justice for Micah. Doretha says, I trust no one. That scar trauma. I'm a survivor. We will recognize the preacher's ways. I'm sure. Bless this lady in heaven. Yeah, I would not let them steal your joy. Don't let them steal your trust. Just become really strong in your own self. Learn to recognize what the signs are so you know what you're looking at. So maybe for a second you will be triggered, right? The person's giving you all this love bombing. You notice you start to feel kind of good. I feel happy with this. And then they start in with the negative. You can tell a lot from like the superiority. I talked about this in terms of Ruby Frankie too. While she was in jail, she is on this recorded call talking about herself, and the only person she could feel superior to in that moment was Jody Hildebrandt, because Jody was in jail also, but Jody couldn't get her handcuffs behind her back like Ruby could. This is such a bizarre thing, but this is so typical. Ruby could get her hands behind her back, but Jody was bigger, so she couldn't. It was just, again, making herself superior at someone else's expense. Tiffany says, yeah, she was making plans to go. She had taken out a protective order. Thanks for that, Tiffany. And Jess says, I get that completely. It does help in a funny sort of way. Yeah, he's smearing her. And then in the obituary, she's supposedly talking about how great he is all the time, even though she's divorcing him, posting all these posts on Facebook. Justice for Micah. Yep. Justice for Micah. Hey, Sarah says, so grateful to know you guys and thankful for sharing your message. You guys are rock stars. You are. So glad you guys are part of the Reporter Room family. Secret says, I bet he hated the fact that she was so loved. He wanted all the attention for himself. Yeah. And that obituary says really spoke volumes, didn't it? Where he's talking about how she saw him. So he loved himself in her eyes until she didn't want him anymore. And we saw this with O.J. Simpson too, when Nicole was leaving and finally leaving. She unfortunately had to have interactions with him still. And Jess says, to Cirrus, you are so amazing, so proud to mod alongside of you. Thank you to all our mods. Retha says, it's always about the bad guy. Tara says, the one thing he always did to me, saying I was mentally unstable to others. Well, that's gaslighting, isn't it? It's a way to discredit you so that when you say whatever is happening, no one believes you. And this is what I say about the people that don't believe you, because what they think about you is none of your business. So don't worry about that. If they're so easily manipulated and gaslit that they are believing what this narcissistic person is saying about you, to not believe you, don't trust you, you're delusional, you're lying, whatever they're saying about you, that's the person that they're telling that to. If they're willing to take that in and internalize that and believe that about you so easily without checking in with you, then that's on them, because what they think about you is none of your business. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter. They don't matter, because if the flying monkeys, and that's really what they end up becoming, are going to be out there doing the bidding of the narcissist and believing all these bad things about you, that's a them problem. It's not a you problem. You just stay strong in your own self. The Cat's Life says, no, it doesn't pass the smell test. I agree. Leslie doesn't think it passed the smell test. Stephanie says that's the smear campaign. Exactly. Scarlett says, thank you to you and Jazz. Chris McDonough, the interview room can help solve this. I believe he's already been involved. Okay. Sarah says, I feel the same way about you guys. Everyone needs someone. Jody is welcoming. If you're new to Reporter Room, welcome. Come on in. This is a nice family, true crime family. If you want to be part of a nice true crime family community, then consider subscribing and joining ours. We have a Facebook group, really nice people, where we're putting out credible information. Yes, she did seem like a person in love with life. I agree. There was nothing about her that said, I'm done. And her parents aren't buying it for a second. Maria says, thank you to the producers, Jessica, mods. Yeah, thank you. Sarah says, thanks for being here with us, and special thanks. Oh, thank you for always bringing the facts. So proud to be part of this amazing community. I'm proud to be part of it with you guys, because the community's not amazing because of me. The community is amazing because of you. It's amazing because of our channel members. It's amazing because of our moderators. It's amazing because of our subscribers and our viewers. That's what makes this community amazing. Tara says, please hit the like button. Thank you, Tara. I'm glad I covered it too. We're going to keep going. Denja says, I gifted 5 memberships earlier and some for your computer friend. Oh, I didn't see it. Oh my gosh, how did I miss that? I do see a new member. I don't know. I didn't get notified of that. And Jazz, did you do it while we were live on the air? Well, welcome Debbie Joe, a new channel member. Is this one of the ones you gifted, and Jazz? Or was it on the other live stream with Sebastian? And thinks that Ruby, Frankie's husband, is guilty also. Either that or he was a victim of her. I mean, I don't know. I think he was like willfully ignorant to a certain extent, but it does make me wonder what he was enduring with her too. I don't know. Debbie Joe says, I was just saying preachers aren't perfect, and he and my husband both lacked intimacy with men. Wow. Oh, and just it was on the last live. I didn't see it. I'm so sorry. And just thank you so much for the gifted memberships. I don't know how I missed that. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry about that, but thank you for gifting the memberships. That's such a nice thing to do. If you guys ever get to be the receiver of a gifted membership, it's just so nice. So thanks for that, Njaz. All right, well, I think I'm going to leave it there, but if you want me to, I will continue to cover this case, and we can continue to come together as a community and just and talk about this. I just want to tell you the sign, thumb, 4 fingers. If you see this, the man or woman or young person, little person that's showing you this needs your help. This is the silent way of, or if you're ever in a situation and you need help, thumb goes in and then the fingers cover the thumb like that. So Secret says, this is definitely a lovely community. Some of other true crime communities are, well, that can happen in any community too. But I do think that we do have some really loving and kind people. And it just all comes down to our awesome moderators. Thank you so much. And to our channel members too. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you to our producers, George Brown and Jazz, for Amber, Energy Shots, Angry Mons, Not So Saintly, to our channel members. And if you want me to continue to cover this case, let me know in the comment section below. I do think there's a lot to unpack here, and I think that it is an opportunity to maybe protect and save someone else in the future. To just by raising awareness for this, we could end up helping someone else in the future that may be going through something like this and doesn't know that they, what's happening to them. Because that's the most insidious thing about the gaslighting, is that the victims so often feel like it's their own fault, that they've done something to deserve this, that they've done something to cause this, because the narcissistic person is telling them that this is what's happening to them. And this is our super thanks. Green Eye Sparkle is separate by herself. I put it Vicky Smith underneath, and for some reason I put it right next to. And so, Njaz, I will add you here for next time for the gifted channel memberships. Thank you so much. So I'm going to leave it there. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Join our family. And if you haven't come down to our Facebook group and you want to be part of a nice community of good people, come on in and join us. And we talk about true crime cases, but we also talk with each other. And it really is a loving and caring group. So I'm going to leave it there, and I will continue to follow this case. I'm also following the Riley Strain case very closely. I'll continue to update you on that. We're just waiting for that toxicology report, which I think it's going to be out sometime in the next week or so. So I'll be following that. And if you would like me to do the Caleb Harris case, he's missing, let me know. I will add that one in along. And of course, I'll continue to follow Sebastian Rogers and the Idaho students.